Alright everyone, Thursday morning, how are we getting on? This is the Celtic Way morning briefing. I am Hamish. Tony is on. Tony, how are things today?
All good, Hamish. Yes, just looking forward to
Perfect.
the early hours of Saturday morning when they play DC United. That's the next big thing
Me
to look
too.
forward to, isn't it? Yeah, can't wait for that.
Counting down the days. Joe, you're on as well. How are things?
Yeah, all good. Very much the same. Enjoying the pictures coming out of the team in the White House, but I'd rather see them on the pitch. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we could start with that. I'm guessing it's not something people wanted to spend the whole show chatting about. We don't really tend to go into politics, but I guess it's not really politics. That was quite cool, wasn't it? The team got to venture to the White House and wander about a bit, and it seems, judging from their Instagram, Joe, that a lot of them enjoyed it because they were doing that thing that people do these days where they take the photo and then they put the wee location in and all that kind of stuff. This is, no offence, Tony, this is probably alien to you, the world of Instagram stories and stuff, is it?
I'm on Instagram, but I'm not prolific.
Are you?
You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, I do know that
Stories?
yeah, I do know
Instagram
that.
stories?
Yeah, I do know that JR was shot in Dallas and all that, you know. I've got hot and cold running water and electricity in East Kilbride. I'm with the programme, you know what I mean? I think we've just got Channel
Fabulous.
4 as well, so we're all good. You know what I mean?
It's nice to
it was-
see, isn't it? That's them being to the Vatican and the White House in the space of whenever they played in Rome last year. So that's quite a cultural exchange. I did see the internet noticing that Matt O'Reilly was standing a little bit too far away from the players and among the coaches, so the sleuths were already saying, "Oh, there's a divide," and maybe that's just people panicking. Let's not read into that too much, but yeah, I thought it's quite cool, quite nice to see them over there, and of course it means that they're a step towards these games, and they saw some footage coming out of them getting put through their paces in pre-season, seeing Cal McGregor running about daft as he is wont to do. So good seeing those boys assimilated back in as well.
I mean, it must be quite kind of cool for the team, all joking aside, Tony, to get to go to places like the White House, the Vatican, as we say last year. I've forgotten about that. I mean, these are kind of things that would stick with you for a fair amount of time.
There's just that expression, is it, when in Rome? So obviously when you're in Rome, you go to the Vatican. If you're in Washington, D.C., why wouldn't you want to go to the White House? But my thoughts on this, and I mentioned it in a piece today, and I'll put it into the group chat, you're spreading the good gospel of Celtic wherever you go, and I think that's the message there, isn't it? The clubs are the thrust of the piece is, Celtic are a Glasgow football club, but they've got a global reach, and things like that just enhance it. Seeing the players in the Vatican and the White House, and you see them with prominent politicians, the Pontiff himself and all that. So it's just wonderful, and wherever they go, it's like, I think it was the Celtic story that famously said, if ever Celtic played on the moon, you would find supporters had already beat them to it. They would be there before them to cheer them on when they arrived and all that. And it's a fair statement, isn't it? The Scottish, Irish diaspora, we all know about that, and I'll put that piece in there, it's there. And that's the thrust of it. I start off by saying HSBC Bank said that they're the world's local bank. They had that picture of the map and all the places where branches were. And I'm working on the same premise that Celtic are the world's local football team because everybody knows about them and what they did. And it all stems back to 66, 67, that American tour where they got the boys bonded together and they had the season of their lives, unprecedented success. And that's the yardstick by which every Celtic team is measured. And as I said in the piece, that talking about a local thing, the wonderful Hugh McIlvanney, who said Celtic conquered Europe with a Glasgow District 11. And it's because of that localness that Celtic have gone global. And that's the thrust of that piece. If you want to read it, ladies and gentlemen, you'll enjoy it. And that defines the modern day Celtic. It's why Brendan Rodgers and the current squad can go and play to thousands in America, can go to play to thousands in Japan. Ange Postecoglou took them to Australia. They played to thousands there. Lots of exiled Celtic supporters spread eagled all across the globe, but their hearts are in Glasgow's East End, and they always will be.
And yeah, I mean, I've obviously had first-hand experience, recently of here of being able to go and watch games in a place surrounded by Celtic fans. And I do think sometimes it's something you just say. You just say and you don't actually think what you're saying. You say you could go anywhere around the world and you'd find Celtic fans. But it's so true. It's quite remarkable that there will be Celtic fans. There were Celtic fans in Japan last year, Australia, Sydney it was the year before, and there'll be Celtic fans in their thousands who will be buzzing to get out to games, Joe, and see the team maybe for the first time in a few years.
Yeah, and I know that obviously you're in Australia yourself. I had a couple of years in Australia way back in 2009, 2010, and the club came out during that time. They were playing Brisbane Roar at the time when I was in Brisbane, and just to be walking about on those days in the city centre, in the central business district as they call it over there, and to just see green and white as you would on an away day in Europe or whatever, or on Buchanan Street or whatever, and it's amazing. It is amazing, and I think you're absolutely right. I think that it's said to the point of cliche that traveling the world you can see Celtic fans anywhere, but it's cliche for a reason, because it does mean so much. And you'll find that, I mean, there'll be countless fans over there that will be lucky enough to live near the stadiums that they're playing in over the course of the next week or so, but there'll be loads travelling as well, you can rest assured. And to see them in such iconic places, the Vatican, the White House, and it is all over social media, it's nice to see that global reach manifest.
It is, and Brendan Rodgers is talking it up as well, Tony. He's kind of been in the media today from the US saying it's great for the players and the staff. We've got really good games here, but I think Celtic is an iconic club. It's a club that's supported worldwide. You go to an event in New York and you always think it was a local team that was there. It's absolutely incredible. So the chance for us to go there, it's a great privilege. So hopefully it can be really beneficial. People are also wanting to know about signings, I guess. We can probably return to the US stuff, but I'm wary that we spend the whole show chatting about the White House, and there's already people debating US politics now in the chat, so I've started something we don't really want to get into. But I mean, transfer-wise, I guess today we're hoping that Kasper Schmeichel is announced. The chat as his medical went fine yesterday, and he's going to be joining the team today, apparently, in the US, so you would assume it will be announced today as well.
Yeah. Are we allowed to call it the Green and White House? Is that out of bounds?
If you really want, you can do it.
I really want to. No, not happy with that. No. Okay. But just asked a question. That's fair enough.
You know what? I was actually quite surprised that I was scanning through the replies on the social media posts, and I hadn't spotted it. I thought someone would have mentioned it. If I was a betting man, I'm probably not surprised that it's yourself, Tony. Because I love slang and Cockney slang.
But the club actually went for it. The club actually put it in one of their tweets.
I'm not surprised. I missed that one. Yeah, it was more among the fans.
Too much of an own goal. Yeah. In terms of Kasper Schmeichel, but I mean, we spoke off air just before we came on, and we said we knew that was kind of happening anyway, didn't he? He was going to Rome for his medical and stuff like that. I think everybody's more interested in Adam Idah, aren't they? And he played 33 minutes yesterday, and then that was the Adam Idah social media meltdown again. And then the manager coming out and saying, I've had private chats with him, and he can be an important player for us. This is the pantomime of it all. They have to turn around to the Norwich supporters and say, we did everything we could to keep him. The guy's heartily at Celtic. I still think he'll be a Celtic player at some point on this tour, because I just don't think Celtic would sanction the sale of O and not have something, an iron in the fire. And it has to say if they have, then I think a lot of supporters won't be too happy at that. But I still fully expect Adam Idah to be a Celtic player on this tour.
So what do you reckon, Joe? Is it like haggling over a couple of 100,000 more than that? Like why? Maybe I get Norwich need to be seen to be trying to keep him, but why is he playing friendlies with Norwich? Like, should we not be just have him signed by now?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to have him through the door. I've made no secret of that. And I thought of all the players that might have come through at the start of the American tour, that he would have been the first one personally. It's tough to say. I think that, and again, we're just going back over ground that we've spoken about already in the last, basically since the cup final, that new manager coming in at Norwich, very keen to, as you say, Hamish, keen to be seen to doing everything they can to keep him in the door at Norwich. And yeah, it seems like it's all but happening now. It seems that he wants to be up here. Why is it taking so long? It's one of those ones, like, it's quite frustrating as a fan that it is taking so long. I'd love to have him, in those photos in the White House among the players. But in the meantime, assuming that it's all moving in the right direction, is this the motions that we need to go through? The new manager can say, yeah, we tried to give him a taste of the atmosphere and the tone behind the scenes here, and it comes to nothing. And he's still getting game time. He's still keeping himself fresh. He's not frozen out like some players, the younger guys that we're seeing at the moment. It's a little bit frustrating. I want to see him on a plane where he's taking photos on his Instagram, he's marking locations, he's doing the same, he's in Pennsylvania Avenue or whatever the White House is, or if it's the next games where we move on away from DC, then great. But I don't know, it goes back to the patience thing for me. I think it feels like we're just kind of going through the motions at the moment, and it is a little bit frustrating to that end, but I'm like Tony, I think that it's a matter of time. It's a when not if situation.
I guess as fans we're not privy to what goes on in the background, so all we see, Tony, is the reports that he wants to come, the club want to sign him, but he's away playing and training with Norwich in Belgium, by the way.
Yeah, I mean that's his parent club, so he has to go. Is it time to dust down those memes? I just want Adam Idah back in a bag of cans. Is it one of those? Just substitute the name. It was Brendan Rodgers before. Now it's Adam Idah. That kind of thing. The dogs are going into that as well. They're not happy with the situation. Yeah, I listen. Celtics. It's never simple. Apart from when Ange Postecoglou was here, they did the bump with the transfers, didn't they? And everything was great, and we all felt good about ourselves. Every other Celtic transfer to in my history and knowledge has been a long protracted affair. Celtic have lowballed it, haven't they? And I don't think for a minute that Celtic don't know what Norwich want for this player, because they'll have said it straight off the bat. It's between 6 and 7 million. So if you're serious and the manager's serious, if you go by his quotes about Adam Idah, he's been respectful because he plays for a parent club, but he told you after the Scottish Cup final where his thoughts lay with regards to Adam Idah. He knows my thoughts, the board know my thoughts. I genuinely think that, and again, in saying for those of you who doubt me will see hearing me, I think Brendan kind of made a road for his own back in that one. Not so much for himself, but for the board to say, this is a transfer I want, sort this out. And I know all transfers take time, but I don't understand why it would take this long, but because it's taken this long, I have to say Celtic must have had some encouragement, if it's from the player himself, and Brendan just saying, wait till the optimal time, you will be joining us. So, as I say, I'm supremely confident that Adam Idah will be a Celtic player, because if he's not going to be a Celtic player, then Celtic should have moved on, and I believe they would have moved on to other targets. But I think this guy's pivotal to the way Brendan Rodgers wants to play next season, and I think Norwich are just trying to get as best a deal as they can. I fully expect their manager to say all of that and then wring his hands in the air and say, we tried our best to keep him, but he wanted to play for Celtic, he wanted to play in the Champions League, he wanted to try and win more. So that's the way I expect this to play out.
I think we're all generally positive. I'm pretty convinced we're going to sign him. Like I'd be pretty surprised if the window goes by and we don't sign him. Christopher reckons we won't sign Idah or Bernardo in the transfer window because the board have no ambition. Maestro reckons that Norwich are holding out for a bigger fee. Henrik McLarson says you're looking unusually happy, Tony. That's an insult, but he's saying, what do you know?
I'm always cheery. I've always got a cheery disposition. I thought I was, but there you go. I'm everything to all men, women, and children on here, I believe. So I usually try and be happy, but if I come across as unhappy, well, I'll apologise for that. But unhappy's not usually in my makeup or my nature, I don't think.
No, I wouldn't say so, but hey-ho. David Boyle, if the club were being professional, not just being tight, Idah and Bernardo would be on the American tour, and I'm sure Rodgers would have wanted them there too. Big Dom raising the big question, will we be a lot stronger as a squad at the end of the window? So what needs to happen for us to be a lot stronger? We need to sign players, obviously, Joe, but generally position-wise, what are you looking for us to be a lot stronger?
It's just covering other positions, isn't it? It's about reinforcing and not rebuilding. I know that we're solely focused on us, but you do hear a bit of an undercurrent of other clubs have been busy in this window with completely different circumstances, and we're also a team on the ascendancy, which we showed in the last stretch of last season. Some difficult times last season that have been well documented and well spoken about from not least the manager, players, and ourselves. And the kind of commentary side, but we need to reinforce, and if that is Adam Idah, Paulo Bernardo, the goalkeeping situation looks like it's well taken care of now. We've spoken about this already, but we've not heard anything really, nothing tangible about being linked with a left back, a centre back. Yeah. These need to start coming to the fore now for me. It's interesting hearing a lot of people saying even getting Idah and Bernardo through the door would be Celtic standing still, but it's not, is it? I mean, that's letting them go back to their parent clubs would be them standing still, because even though they've been here, we do need to get them through the door. That is still active business. And one of the bugbears among a lot of the vocal support, and I've voiced this myself before as well, is bringing in projects and bringing in unknowns and bringing in players that may or may not be good enough. We know that these guys, Idah and Bernardo, are good enough. If Kasper Schmeichel comes through the door, we know that this goalkeeper is good enough. We don't know so much about Sinisalo, but he seems to be presenting himself well. I saw someone commenting on, and I've missed what number he's taken for the squad, but someone commented that he hasn't taken the number 1 shirt. Is that reinforcing what we're saying kind of on this side about Kasper Schmeichel is going to be number 1 and this guy's going to come in and learn from him? So reinforcing across those key positions that we've kind of identified would be progress for me, and hopefully get them in sooner or later. Hopefully get them in on this American tour.
Number 12, I believe Sinisalo is
12.
For him.
Yeah.
The manager said we'd be stronger at the end of this window. We will all hold him to that, won't we? His words. He said Celtic would be a lot stronger at the end of this window than they were going into it. So, again, another bold statement, and you want to see that backed up by proof of signings coming in the door. And I agree, Joe. How can you sign 2 players or supposedly sign 2 players and be accused of standing still? If Idah and Bernardo join, they will significantly improve your team. You know what they can do, but they'll significantly improve your team. So I don't subscribe to this. You're standing still.
I get what people are saying. I get what they're coming at. That it's the 2 players that we saw last season. But equally, it's the nature of loan deals. If maybe the issue is with the option to buy not being in place for Idah, that kind of thing. I understand that level of frustration, but it's I think it's a bit of a reductive mindset to say that we're standing still, kind of just on what you're saying there, Tony. I think that getting these guys back in does show ambition, it does show intent, and it does show that we want to position ourselves in the best place as we move towards the start of the season.
Can both things be true? Can you be... I don't agree that it's standing still either, because we don't have these players at the moment and signing them. But equally, I think as fans, we want more. We don't just want to be where we were at the end of last season, the squad that played Rangers in the Cup final. We want more than that. So I think the answer here is get Idah, Bernardo in and then press on with more signings. And I think the club will do that. Is like the left-back and centre-back stuff a worry at all, Tony? The fact that we've been linked to 3 centre-backs, I think. Mepham, O'Shea and Daniliuc. I don't remember any left-backs being properly linked with, as I could be wrong there, but there's really not been a great deal defensively.
No, but you would say that those 2 are still areas of concern, which you hope the manager and the recruitment team, whoever's doing that at the minute, are all over. Which again, I go back to the manager saying they're going to be significantly stronger at the end of this window than they were going into it. So I'm assuming, and talking about things bubbling away, and I know we've been in this movie before with Celtic, but that's what I take from those statements, that they are actively seeking a left back and a centre back because they need them, whilst also concluding deals for Bernardo and Adam Idah. But you would have hoped that those two guys would be in for this game against DC United. It's looking highly unlikely unless something major happens in the next 48 hours. And then you can focus on left back and a centre back, but we still need that. And I know there's people commenting in the comment section, bubbling away, dealing me, but I stood in front of the manager and they said that to my face. So I've no reason to doubt comments like that from the manager at this moment in time. So I take them at face value. Again, as I said, I think everybody will be lining up to criticise if, come the end of the window, Celtic aren't in what Rodgers says a significantly better position than they were going into it. So they still have time. Patience is a virtue at this moment in time, isn't it? But, so not everything has to be rushed. They are doing their due diligence and planning. That's what the manager speak is telling me right now. And I'm willing to accept that for the time being. But it's getting close to kick-off time in terms of Celtic for their domestic season. So, yeah, we shall wait until the end of the window and see.
I find it pretty staggering that we've not been linked with a left back at all. I mean, that's not just a problem position this summer. It's been a problem position at least the last two windows, and by that I mean, like, I was staggered last season we didn't sign a left back in the summer. Even more staggered in the January window we didn't sign a left back. And if we don't sign one, this summer, we literally only really have Greg Taylor as a proven option there. So I mean, we need some progress there. I guess the thing would be, Joe, you'd look at like the signings of Schmeichel, for example, and Sinizalo as well, and the fact that they kind of came out of nowhere. I know there was a bit of chat about Schmeichel, but in terms of nobody really thought Schmeichel was a genuine option, and then we got one tweet basically from Fabrizio Romano, and it was pretty much a done deal at that stage. Similar with Sinizalo, like nobody really knew much about him, and he's signed with us 2 days later, so things can move very quickly.
Yeah, and again, I sound like a broken record, but you touched upon this there, Tony. There's so long left. That's 6 weeks still to go. I know that we're less time away from the start of the season, but yeah, it's. I think one thing which I found quite baffling is there's not even been any like mad theories about left backs either, is there? There's nothing that's been sweeping the Twitter sphere or the exosphere, as what we call it these days, that's been Celtic are in for or X, Y, and Z. It's been even the fans, even the hype or the hysteria or the people that are mischief making have been very quiet in that regard. One thing I wanted to ask you guys was, what does that, I know this is subjective and we can't speak for anyone but ourselves, but what does a successful window look like to you guys? Like, let's say we get Adam Idah in, let's say we get Bernardo in or not, and we get the 2 goalkeepers in. What do we look back and go, once it's all said and done, that is a good window, that's good business from the club?
Positions, isn't it? It's making sure we're well stocked and have at least 2 reliable options in every position. So we can go through them if you want quickly, guys. I mean, if we're expecting Schmeichel in today, I think you can tick off goalkeeper for now. That's fine. We don't need another keeper. I think Siegrist will move on. Right back, are we all kind of agreed that we're all right there? I know Ralston has his critics. I think he's fine as a backup to Alistair Johnson.
Yeah.
Would you want another right back? Anyone? No.
Not as priority by any means for me now.
Yeah. Centre back, I think we need one, like a first choice centre back. Not convinced by any of the. I think Liam Scales is. Liam Scales did brilliantly last season. I think he'll have a role to play. I would want someone alongside Carter Vickers. So again, are we all agreed a left-sided centre back?
Somebody that can start straight away alongside Cameron Carter Vickers, left-sided defender. Yep, that's on my wish list now.
Left back, as we all say, we think we want a first choice left back. Certainly someone in a kind of really fight it out with Taylor. I think we kind of hoped Bernabe would be that. Mm-hmm. What are you looking for in a left back, Joe? Like, is there any kind of profile you're in particular?
Height.
No,
I'm looking for height.
I'm always about, and I've said this before on this podcast before, like just having that pressure, someone breathing down your neck and pushing you on and off the pitch for that position. I always go back to James Forrest, how well he played when Paddy Roberts was there under Brendan Rodgers' first tenure, and how James Forrest has been pushing the rest of the wingers last season by being that person that's breathing down their neck and taking their chance. So in terms of profiles, someone that can fit Brendan Rodgers' style, bit of pace, bit of grit, and push Greg Taylor to be better in the number one slot, or someone coming in that can make the position their own or want to make it their own. It's simple for me.
Yeah, a few people saying they want a right back in as well. I'm not Ralston's biggest fan. I'm not saying that Ralston's the greatest right back ever. I just think he's fine. Honestly, as a backup, I'm happy Ralston. He doesn't really let us down too often. I know that's maybe not a great, barometer to judge a player on, but I think if Alistair Johnston's going to play the majority of matches, I'm fine with Ralston as backup. I know some people disagree. Midfield wise, Tony, what's let's assume Matt O'Reilly goes. What are you wanting? One or two kind of centre mids, attacking mids?
Two. Then you're looking at Bernardo and another. And again, I just said it there with my left back. I want height and physical presence. I want a big killer in there. I've got to be honest. A ball-playing, physical, robust guy that can compete for everything on the deck and in the air. I know they're hard to find, but a Victor Wanyama prototype or something like that. And they got him for 800 grand from Germinal Beerschot in Belgium. So they do exist if you're doing your due diligence and your homework and scouting in the right areas. So find me another one of that ilk, that kind of presence for me, because I think Celtic need that. They really do need that. We've got a lot of guy on a lot of craft in the midfield areas and players that can spray passes and score some goals, but we need a bit of good old-fashioned dig. Somebody who's going to stamp their authority in a football match and take it by the scruff of the neck when we need it most, especially when you go into Europe. I think the manager's aware of that too. We've got some individual footballers who are very skillful, but we don't have a lot of height, we don't have a lot of physical presence and a lot of steel. So that's what I want in there. That's just personally speaking.
So Bernardo is your O'Reilly replacement if you're saying that because this player would be a deeper player.
Yeah, I think Bernardo could step up to the plate, because he's shown on occasion, and I think he can maybe thrive in getting an extended run of games. I mean, O'Reilly's kind of irreplaceable, isn't he? But we got O'Reilly for £1.5 million. So again, if you're scouting the right places and doing your homework, you can unearth another O'Reilly, couldn't you? Because we didn't have a hefty financial outlay on that. So, but in an ideal world, I want somebody just to protect the ball players that we have at the club, because I feel they do need protecting at times.
Midfield, Joe?
Yeah, I mostly agree. If I'm looking at the whole window, right, I wanted, before the window opened, I wanted a goalkeeper. I wanted someone to be pushing Greg Taylor or moving in as first choice in left back. I wanted Bernardo and Idah to come back and a winger or two. And that might not be a massively popular opinion, but that's leaving the centre back position free. It's more about me trying to gauge how much I want and how much we're likely to bring in and how much we're likely to spend. Because we always hear about how much money is there and how much disposable money is there, and it never seems to be the case if money is being kept for a year that we don't get into the Champions League, etc. I would be happy with getting Bernardo back through the door, getting Idah back through the door. We already have the goalkeeper situation sorted. Some tangible options or transfer likelihoods at left back, and a winger or two. And that would be a successful window for me, personally.
Right. Okay, so I'm goalkeeper, left back, centre back, Bernardo, Idah, and a winger. I think what's that, 6 positions. I know backup goalkeeper as well, but that wouldn't have been one I would really have thought of at the start of the window. So I think that's my kind of ideal window that'd be successful for me, Tony.
I'm going to flick this up. Graham Tyrrell said Tony just described Bosun Lawal. Can he make the step up? I don't think that is Bosun Lawal, because the manager certainly doesn't think that's Bosun Lawal at the minute. And I'm not so sure if he can make the step up. Lots of people want him to make the step up, but I wouldn't trust him right now to throw him in to competitive football against Kilmarnock on the opening day. So I still think we need another in Bosun Lawal, somebody who will either make his breakthrough season and get some valuable minutes by being in game squads, or he'll go out on loan again this season. And looking at what the manager's telling you, I think it might be looking at another loan spell because they're not doing enough. So I'm going on that, and I just don't see the Wanyama prototype in Lawal, but I just don't see that kind of player in Lawal at this minute in time. So whilst there possibly be similarities, I just don't think there's similarities in terms of their actual talent and what they can bring on the pitch, what Lawal can bring on the pitch just yet. So I would hang fire on that in terms of saying that Bosun Lawal's that man to step in there, because I'm not so sure that he is.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see if we see him in the US, tour, and how he gets on in those matches. Yeah. It's going to be an opportunity for him to shine. The more I think about it, another midfielder potentially as well actually might have been on my list, because, and before O'Reilly goes possibly, because, we're going to play a lot of matches. Have we ever really replaced David Turnbull? I know Turnbull wasn't a spectacular player for us at the end, but that's a guy who, would chip in with some goals, play some matches. I'm not sure Odin Thiago Home is that guy, to be honest. But the next question would be if you think we will get everything we want, guys. And I guess with Celtic, the answer, obviously, quite honestly, sometimes can be no. But, we live in hope, I guess, Joe. It's a really cheery few minutes we're having, isn't it? The world's no ending, don't worry.
Yeah, I guess that's why I've kind of tempered my personal reflection or expectation of what success looks like in a transfer window, because there have been years where I thought, oh yeah, we need to open the checkbook and we need to get multiple cover in every position, and it's not tenable. I think being realistic, if we get between 4 and 6 people through the door come the end of the transfer window, that can be considered successful, and then it's up to the next few months to see if they're cut out. From the fan perspective, obviously you'd like to hope the club are doing their due diligence and they think they can do it, but the proof is in when they hit the match day pitch. But I don't know, and it's tough because again I keep going back to we've got so long to go before the window shuts, so maybe we have these crisis conversations when we've got 5 days to go and we're sitting in the same, and Idah still isn't through the door, and he's sending it take Instagram posts, and he's in Austria or he's in Belgium or wherever he is. So.
He does the new Jota. It's going to take forever, isn't it? Then they're just going to turn and say he's done. So hey,
I think Jota was announced by now, wasn't he? I'm sure it was like kind of early.
I think it was July the 1st, wasn't it? July the 1st, I think.
Christ, I thought that dragged on.
Yeah. He spent his summer globetrotting, didn't he? Saying he was here, there and everywhere, playing football with guys in New York at one point, wasn't he?
Yeah,
that kind of stuff. So, watch this space. But I guess every Celtic supporter's definition of a successful window will differ, won't it?
Yeah.
That's the thing, isn't it? So, but I think the most frustrating thing is, for the first time in their history, the finances and the wherewithal is there for Celtic in abundance. And I think it's that reluctance to, and I'm not saying be frivolous, I would never encourage Celtic to be frivolous, but they can loosen the purse strings a bit, can't they? And it's as far as Celtic can push that financial envelope. And I think that's a frustration for Celtic supporters when they hear the people at the top table at the AGM saying they're cash rich, and bumping their gums big time about it and making a big thing about it. Then And I also think the manager's earned a slice of that to get what he wants, to arm him with the tools necessary to be, again, domestic success. If you bring in the players, domestic success comes, but you want to arm him with the tools at his disposal to make a fist of it in Europe, and a new mindset for this competition, which Celtic are heading into, and that's what you really want to see, that ambition and that kind of progress. And I think the manager's earned, certainly, to have a fraction of that budget thrown his way to say, okay, what do you want? Go and get it and take it from there.
I think it's about adding that real quality, 3 or 4 real quality players who can really make the difference at Champions League level. Because I've said it, a number of times. I don't think we were a million miles away. I know the results weren't great, but in 5 of the 6 matches we played good stuff. We just need quality in 3 or 4 positions, and I think we might do all right in the Champions League. A few people asking actually about Greg Taylor's contract, out of contract at the end of this season. I believe at the end of last season he had said that he was hoping to have discussions with Celtic. I reckon that's the kind of thing you won't hear anything about, and then you just see a tweet go up, Greg Taylor signed a new contract. I don't think there'll be any reason for him not to sign a new deal. I've not even done the sponsor shout out yet. If you're looking for a winning heating solution for your home, MPH Boilers is your go-to team. Big thanks to them for sponsoring this video. They are award-winning. They're a family-run business. They serve all of mainland Scotland, and they bring the best in boiler installations and servicing. They've partnered with Weissman as well, who are known for their top-notch German-engineered boilers. So check them out. Details will be in the description. We've also got something new as well, Tony.
We have. There you go. And it's £1 for 6 months for new subscribers. Hit that subscribe button, www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. And then that automatically enters you into a draw to win a signed 2023-24 Celtic home shirt. And if you subscribe before the 30th of July, from today onwards, you'll be entered into that draw. But all existing subscribers are automatically entered into that. You can win that wonderful signed shirt in the frame from the champions of last season. Every signature's on that, so I am told. So that's a fabulous prize. But if you haven't subscribed yet, you subscribe today, and it'll cost you £1 for 6 months. Hit that button, www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe, and be in with a chance to win that fabulous frame strip of last season's champion Scottish Premier League or Scottish Premiership and Scottish Cup team. Get it right, Tony. Yeah, get it right. But it's a cracking prize, guys. So, but if you're subscribed already, you're automatically entered in that draw. So that's a good thing. Good luck to everybody with that. And with further ado, I'll hand you back to Hamish, and I think that'll be it for today, will it not?
Yeah, very smooth, Tony. Very smooth. Yep, I think we'll head off. Everyone, thanks for tuning in as always, and a wee bit of kind of speculation chat today. As I say, I think we're all expecting Kasper Schmeichel to be announced very soon. I think it'll be today. If not today, it'll surely be tomorrow, because they'll probably want him to play on Saturday night / Sunday morning, and then hopefully we take it from there and have some more players in. But yes, we'll head off. Thanks, guys, for your time. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, commenting. We've got that offer going as well now. So, we'll speak to you this